This week, rare fish, wild dog drama, and epic water safaris. What started as a stressful discovery evolved into one of my best wild dog sightings ever. Recently, I was in Botswana's Okavango Delta with one of our Botswana safari experts, scouting for lodges that meet our expectations of outstanding, responsible safari experiences. On the game drive transfer from the airstrip to our remote bush camp, we stopped at an active wild dog den to find, to our horror, that it had recently been under siege by lions trying to kill the pups. The den entrance was caved in, leaving a tiny gap, and the crawl marks above the entrance bore testament to the lions' huge efforts to get to the pups. That must have been terrifying for those pups. We sat for a while and tried to figure out what had happened to the pups and adults. During our contemplations, we heard faint, plaintive whining from deep inside the burrow, evidence that at least one of the pups was still alive. But where were the adults? Had the alpha female been killed defending her pups? And where were the lions? So many questions. Not wanting to influence what was an ongoing natural event, we left the scene as the daylight faded and headed to our bush camp to wait out the night before returning in the morning. It was a long night. Soon after first light, after a scrumptious but hurried breakfast, we returned to the den to find that the entrance had been opened up and a confusion of tiny footprints suggested that at least some of the pups had survived and been moved by the adults. These were tiny pups, still suckling, so they could not have gone far. And the threat of lions, leopards, and hyenas was always there, as evidenced by the number of times we encountered them over the next few days as our guides, Dix and Chocolate, pieced together the puzzle. They are local Bushmen, born and brought up here, and they learned and honed their skills as subsistence hunters. Their tracking skills are off the charts, and their granular knowledge of the area is extraordinary. We followed many lines of spoor, investigating what we thought were ideal den locations, and reacted to countless bush signals alerting us to nearby predators. I can't begin to describe the relief and euphoria when, after hearing a wild dog contact call, we also heard the squeals of tiny pups. We followed those clues to find the new den, secreted away in a termite mound hidden by tall grass. What followed was many hours immersed in wonderment and joy, observing these incredible predators care for their 12 precious bundles of joy. We watched the alpha female feeding her ravenous brood, adults disciplining wandering pups, den excavations with sand flying everywhere, pack member greeting ceremonies as they returned from their wanderings, and even a successful impala hunt by some of the pack as others remained to guard the den. A highlight for me was confirmation that wild dogs do use sneezing as a voting mechanism to get the resting pack to wake up and go hunting. The impala hunt was a typical wild dog strategic maneuver, spreading out in a long line and padding silently through the woodlands before splitting into groups to target specific opportunities. We followed one splinter group, losing them a few times in the woodlands, before Dix and Chocolate cracked the code and got us to the scene just seconds after 4 dogs took down an impala. As usual for these efficient hunters, within seconds of the distress bleat at the moment of attack, the impala had been eviscerated, and the dogs were gulping down choice bits. Gory, for sure, but this is real wild Africa doing her thing. Again, we benefited from the deep bush skills demonstrated by our guides. I spent countless hours in the company of painted wolves, and these few days rank as amongst my best encounters ever. I will return. Our choice of lodgings on this occasion was an intimate 4-tent, 8-guest bush camp on the shore of a permanent channel in the Okavango Delta. This camp is old school, meaning the focus is on authenticity and comfort rather than ostentatious designer decor, rim-flow pools, and imported chefs. Of course, there's room for all comfort levels in this wonderful industry, but on this occasion, less is more. Speaking of returning, how about joining us in 2026 to this part of the Okavango Delta for a deeply immersive safari to search for wild dogs, leopards, and lions, and much more? Please book early to avoid disappointment.